So good evening, everyone, mums and dads. You're all very welcome to our online induction for parents for junior infants 26-27. We're also welcoming some families that are joining us up the classes. So whereas this online presentation is primarily aimed at our junior infant induction, about 75 to 80% of it is still relevant to you also. So thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm joined here this evening by Miss Haran, our Deputy Principal, by Miss Melia, who's our SENCO, Assistant Principal and SENCO. That's the Special Ed's Needs Coordinator in the school, and by Mr. Boggins, Assistant Principal, who is responsible for digital learning and digital infrastructure in the school. So, mums and dads, this evening's presentation will probably take about 45 to 50 minutes, hopefully. And so all the information you're going to need is in this online induction. And you would have received our induction pack as well. I think last Monday and Monday or Tuesday you would have received that. So we'll start anyway, and we'll go to our first slide. So I've introduced our speakers here this evening. Just to let you know as well, you can see down there that I'm the principal, of course, Colin Byrne. So I'm involved with things like governance and enrolment, family law, child welfare issues. Miss Haran deals with any homeschool matters, behaviour, and lots of other things aside. Miss Melia I've introduced. Miss Hartnett is one of our assistant principals also. She deals with Melia Alert. So I'm just pointing out some of our assistant principals here that will be directly relevant to you now at this stage in your journey with us. Miss Megan is our year head, another assistant principal. She's our year head, so she's the year head for the infant classes, and you will be meeting her at the face-to-face induction in June. Our caretaker is Val. Val is the school couldn't function without Val. He's the most important cog in our school community. We have our wonderful secretaries Emma and Lauren. They're in the office there. If you need to contact them, the number is down there. You can see there's one email, we'll get them both. There is an office mobile there if you want to just take note of that. And that office mobile, you just to add that to your contacts, just in case you were to get a phone call from that office mobile. That office mobile is not monitored, so don't ring that mobile if you're looking to contact the office. Two more of our assistant principals whose names you may hear are Mr. Gavin is one of our assistant principals, and he's the yard head and in charge of behaviour. Miss Higgins, who is also another yard head and is responsible for Be Canalta, which is our Be Kind policy and procedures in the school. There are anti-bullying procedures and directly relate to behaviour in the school. You would have received all these documents in your induction pack last Monday, I think it was, or Tuesday. So if you check your emails for that, hopefully you've had a good read of it there now. Please do read them, just because you're going to start an 8-year journey with us now, and if you read them, you'll get a full insight into the school, how we operate, and the culture within the school. So mums and dads of junior infants, we're just going to go through, I suppose, some of the logistics now of your child starting junior infants with us in September. So the face-to-face induction will take place on Friday the 12th of June. You'll be notified of that, 12:30 p.m. sharp. You just attend with your child, either mum or dad. We don't need both on that day, but you're both welcome to come if you so wish. We can't allow any siblings attend on that day, mums and dads. It's just not logistically possible. It's not safe. It's very disruptive, actually. So that's strictly enforced. Just be very conscious of that, please, that young babies and younger children or siblings are not permitted in the school on that day. There's no car parking available in the school. Just again, be conscious of that. On that day, you will go to door 3. You'll get familiar with these. There'll be people directing you on the day, but you go to door 3 and there are lines there. We'll be telling you in which line the children should line up. And door 3 is to the left of the school as you're looking at the school there. The infants will spend some time in their classroom, meeting their teacher, their expected teacher for next September. And you will then meet with Miss Megan and possibly Miss O'Donovan, who is in charge of attendance as well. And they'll meet you there, and possibly one or two of our secretaries as well will introduce themselves on that day. And we hope to give you a quick tour of the school also. So just getting your bearings, there's the school. If you come into the front of the school there, at the roundabout. There's door 1, and the administrative office is in there just to the right hand side down those steps there. That's door 3. And door 3 is the relevant door for you for the morning time, because that's where you'll be lining up. You can see the yellow lines there. You'll have a designated line depending on what class your child is in. You should have received an email from us now telling you what class your child is in. We're asking mums and dads to stand inside the blue boxes. That'll be after the 2-day induction period. And that's very important, that you stand inside the blue boxes so we have a clear line of sight of the children, and it also assists the children to autonomously walk in and out of school then after those 2-day induction period. Just to let you know, there's door 4 and door 5. Door 5 here is relevant to one of the classes. I can't remember which one now, we'll see it later on, but it's in the induction pack. I think it's junior infant C will be going out door 5. So 2 classes go out door 3. That's the same door you go in, but one of the classes will go out door 5. There's just a quick overview of our school and yard. You can see there all the lines there. The red lines are lines that the children typically line up at. You can see the blue lines there, the junior infant line up. That's A, B and C. So you've been designated, depending on what class you're in, line A, B and C, just in front of door 3 there, at which you will line up. These are the expected class teachers for next year. So, and again, expected because anything can happen with recruitment or leave throughout the summer period. And you've been informed already on your email about that. And Miss Megan, as I said, is our year head for the infant classes. So just to go through the first few days in particular, mums and dads, are a little bit different for the first week and a half in particular before the children start infant day proper. So you can see there on Wednesday the 26th of August, that's the first day of school. The start time is 9:30. Now it's normally 9 o'clock, but just on the first day we want to give you all our attention. So we want to get all the children in, all the other children in first, and we'll meet you at 9:30 at your line. And collection time will be 12 o'clock on that first day. The collection time is 12 o'clock for the first week and a half. On Thursday, that's the second day of school, and on Friday, that's the third day of school. The start time will be 9 o'clock. It'll be 9 o'clock from the second day on. But 12 o'clock collection. And then from Monday the 7th onwards, it will be 1:45. That's the infant end of day collection. The school opens at 9 o'clock. Mums and dads, children should be in their line at 5 to 9. Pupils must go straight to the lines in the morning. There's no playing permitted in the yard before or after school. And we say to mums and dads as well that in junior infants, we've different protocols for depending on what class your child is in. But for junior infants, you will be dropping your child to the line and waiting there until the class teacher takes them in. And again, we ask you to stand into the blue lines once on day 3, once the teacher comes to collect the class. Mums and dads should be in the blue lines, please, standing away from the children. So there's just a quick overview of the first 3 days. I'll just give you a few seconds to have a look at that. Again, I've spoken about the protocol there. 1 there, you're in at 9:30, out at 12. You can go into the classroom, you can take a photograph, and you can stand in line with your child. On day 2, there are 2 differences. You're starting at 9 o'clock now, which is the normal start time going forward, and you can't take any photographs on day 2 in the classroom. And on day 3, we do tell them they're big boys and girls now, they're all grown up, and mums and dads will be standing in those blue boxes, and we'll collect the children then, take them in at 9 o'clock from door 3, and they'll be released at 12 o'clock. Parents won't be able to enter class. Parents can't enter the school building at all through the doors from that stage onwards. That's the child safeguarding, strict child safeguarding rules. And again, you will stand in the blue boxes and just wave to your child going in and out. So each class is a designated class line, and that'll happen each year. You'll be told in the August memo, which goes out in the middle of August, usually the 3rd week of August, you'll be told who your teacher is for the year coming, and you will be told what class you're lining up at. The only exception is our junior infants. We always like to be able to tell you who your expected class teacher is in September. Upon entering the schoolyard, each pupil should walk directly to their designated class line and wait until the bell rings and the class is collected by their teacher. Pupils, as I said, are not permitted to play, run or loiter in the schoolyard in the morning nor at home time. The minute they enter the schoolyard, they walk straight to the line, they stand in their school line. Pupils and parents, at the end as well, when you're collecting your children, please, it is important to leave the schoolyard as quickly as possible because obviously we need, if you like, a safe schoolyard for other classes and also to minimise disruption for classes that are going on inside the school. Pupils and parents are not permitted to cycle or use a scooter in the yard. That's an obvious safety thing. We've lots of little children in the school, and if somebody uses a scooter or rides a bicycle into a child, it could cause serious harm to them. Dogs are not permitted to pass the school gate, whether on a lead or carriage. That's a board of management rule. And this is strictly enforced. Sometimes mums and dads like to nurse them and hide them in the jacket, but we're good at sniffing them out, if you excuse a pun. In the mornings, mums and dads, myself and Miss Haran and usually Miss Higgins, who's our assistant principal and yard head, and Mr. Gavin and a few other teachers, we will actually arrive on yard, everything being well, before the bell rings. So the rules basically are junior infants, you're going to bring your child to school every morning and you're going to stand with your child at lines A, B or C in the blue boxes until the teacher has taken your child in. That's a formal handover of care. In senior infants, what happens is you can walk your child to the designated line and you will stand in an area if you wish until we come out. Until staff come out to begin supervising again sometime before 9 o'clock. And at that time we ask you to leave. Really, from first class up, from first and second class, it's drop and go in the morning time. You bring them to their line, never approach a line, never go into the middle of the line, but you bring the children to the line, watch them to the line, and then you just go, even before the bell, because they're well able at that stage to supervise themselves at 10 to 9, 5 to 9, and we will be out anyway around that stage. We keep a good eye on them. From third to sixth class, we ask parents not to come to the yard in the morning times. Again, we're just trying to avoid congestion and have a good clear line of sight onto our classes when we're monitoring them. And again, the August memo will go out later in the third week of August, and you get all the information for the year ahead in that. So collection doors for junior infants. Again, typically you'll be getting this information third week of August, but because you're junior infants, you get it now. Our classes are Miss Fortune, Miss Doherty, Miss Kilmartin, and you can see they're the collection doors. So you're all going in door 3. You can see door 3 there, and Miss Fortune's and Miss Doherty's classes, A and B, are coming out door 3. But the mums and dads in C, you have to just go a little bit further on the right-hand side beyond door 3, you'll see door 5. And that's the door that Miss Kilmartin's class will come out. You should collect your child from their line at the designated door each day from the first day of school. Wherever this takes place, the teacher will release your child to you in a controlled manner. Please inform the teacher if someone other than yourself is collecting your child. And mums and dads, you can imagine teachers trying to learn the children's names and so on. So when they come out with a child, there'll be a child at the top of the line. What you do is there'll be loads of parents standing around. You make yourself very obvious from those blue boxes. Give, or if you're at door 5, there's cones. Give a good big wave to teacher. Make yourself easily identifiable to teacher, and teacher will learn who you are, and then will release your child to you. And please stand well back from the door just to give teachers a line of sight to the mums and dads. You would have received, mums and dads, in your induction pack information on our school uniform. I'm not going to go through it. It's all there. Okay. So the children have to wear a uniform, but we're not strict on. So we have our school uniform tracksuit and we have our traditional school uniform. They can wear either. They have to wear the tracksuit obviously on P days. Now, to be honest with you, 98 to 99% of the children wear the tracksuits all the time. And to be honest with you, I like to see that because I prefer to see children in tracksuits. It's more amenable to young children in a school environment that they can move freely and so on. But that's a decision for yourself. But the tracksuits are fine, but they must wear the uniform. They're not allowed any dangly earrings. They can have studded earrings if they want, but they're not allowed any dangly earrings or hooped earrings or looped earrings, and no makeup or facial piercings. Lunches, mums and dads, I always say you don't know how lucky you are. As a dad myself, it was the bane of my life making school lunches each evening, only to see them uneaten the next day when they came home from school. But we have, you just have to provide a snack to your child for the mid-morning, the small break. And we have a hot meal scheme in the school here. In August, Emma and Lauren in the office, now this will be in August, will send you out information on how to register for the school lunches. There'll be information leaflets on that as well, and how to select your hot meals for your child. The one thing I do want to say to you on lunches is there are some items that are banned in the school, nuts and eggs, because it's children with serious life-threatening allergies. Sweets and chocolate, obviously we're a healthy lunch school. Crisps not allowed. Popcorn because the cleaners go mad. And fizzy and sugary drinks as well. Popcorn, by the way, is a choking hazard. I want to just say that to you as well. Our first aid personnel said the three choking hazards, main ones are sausages, popcorn, and I can't think of the other one now. It'll come back to me. Sausages, popcorn, it'll come back to me. Fizzy and sugary drinks, we want to keep the sugar out. It's healthy. Water is the best option. But anyway, there's a leaflet there in our healthy lunches. You would have got that. Just take the time to read that. You must have the grapes, please. Is that okay? Right up to really first class, half the grapes because they're choking hazard. Hot school meals. I mentioned that. Pupils are asked obviously not to swap lunches, so they're not allowed to swap lunches again. Children with different allergies and so on. Teachers don't police lunchtimes, mums and dads. It's just not something we do, I have four children myself. If they're hungry, I have four children myself, and I say if they're hungry, they're going to eat. If they're not going to eat in school, they'll come home and let them eat there. Often, particularly the first few days or first few months in school, they're keyed up and they're excited and usually they're just chatting the whole time, and a hungry child will eat, so don't be worrying too much about that. All pupils are given a minimum of 10 minutes, absolute minimum of 10 minutes. So if your child's come home telling you I'm not getting enough time, well, obviously let us know. But 9 times out of 10, that's not correct, because we are constantly reminding teachers give a minimum of full 10 minutes, and normally they're getting 15 minutes and more, particularly the younger classes. So we've split breaks. So our third classes, sixth classes take their breaks at a different time. Our junior infants and second classes, they take their breaks there from 10:40 to 10:50 and from 12:20 to 12:45. Later on, just to let you know, as regards we'll talk about your collections, Miss Haran will, but children can't be collected during those times because it's just we don't have the manpower to take children off yard. We're a Catholic school, mums and dads, but we celebrate and honour and value diversity and all faiths and children and no faiths. We're a very inclusive school, and any of you mums and dads that are actually in the school already will be able to attest to that. I'm not going to go too much into the curriculum because Miss Megan will go through the curriculum at your face-to-face induction day, where you'll also get to tour the school. But look, there's the subjects. The curriculum is changing now at the minute. There's actually 4 days off next year, mums and dads, and with staff training for the curriculum. We haven't been notified of them yet, but as soon as we get word, we'll let you know. So the only thing I want to say to you there is in RSE, I don't want you choking in your cornflakes when your child goes home and starts talking about penis and vulva. They are the anatomically correct words, and we use them, and it's important that we use anatomically correct words, particularly for child safeguarding reasons. But Miss Megan will talk to you more about curriculum anyway, anon. So I'm going to pass you on now to Mr. Boggins, who is our assistant principal, and he leads digital learning in our school very well. So Mr. Boggins, over to you there, please.
Thank you, Mr. Byrne. Good evening, mums and dads and guardians, and we're very glad to have you along this evening to give you all the information we can. We love giving out information, as you'll notice once you come to our school. If you're already a parent of a child in the school, you know that already. We're great for information, but information is power. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is Aladdin, which is our app for communicating with parents and guardians. You will have it on your phone, and we will send messages on it regularly. Your teachers will send homework on it. There'll be lots and lots of memos sent out on it, and the information is always very important. There will be monthly newsletters sent out as well, and they are important. We would urge you to read them and to take note of the important things to do with your class and your kid. It's very easily downloaded. If you've ever downloaded an app before, whether it's on an iPhone or an Android, it's dead simple. And an access code will be sent out to you by Emma or Lauren in our office. We're all very tech savvy in our school, and we can help with anything that you get stuck on. You'll see at the bottom of this page, It says secretary at holyfamilyns.ie. And if you go to our school website, which is holyfamilyns.ie, you'll see a list of all the teachers' email addresses, and mine is in there, Mr. Boggins. And if you ever get stuck with anything, I welcome any questions, and there's no silly questions. I've had them all. There's 700 kids a year or thereabouts, so you can imagine we have had them all, and we can help with anything that you come across. So the access code gets sent out. You register your details using the email that you provided to the school. You click on the link and you have a code sent to your phone by text. Enter that in the app and then you validate it. It's just like any other app that has any sort of security built in so that it's sent to you and no other parents. If you do wish to share contact details with other parents for things like starting a little group and getting a party together with your children or anything like that, you can. You just click on your initials on the top right hand side of your home screen, and then you select privacy and you'll see options to share either your email, your number, both or none. If you do want to set up a birthday party or something, we'd urge you to do it this way because we don't allow handing out invitations or gifts or food on the school grounds for obvious reasons. And we have a kind of a rule in the school that if you're going to invite one, you have to invite all. We don't like leaving people out. It's part of our school motto, and we do have a very happy cohort of children in here because we don't allow children to be left out. Actually, it's a great school in that regard, and we expect parents to follow that way as well if that is something that you can jump in with. Class WhatsApp groups. Again, parents usually set these up. They are very useful for setting up events and coordinating things and any questions you might have to do at homework or you might not want to ask a teacher. You're always welcome to ask a teacher, but you might be able to ask a parent and it keeps the burden off the teacher. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. I don't mean burden in the negative sense of the word, but if we get 30 questions a day, that takes out of teaching time just reading the question. And we'd much rather teach your little children than be answering the same question to 10 people. So the app groups are good for that. We've a little rule sometimes in a class of ask three before asking me, where we get the children to ask each other questions before asking the teacher. So it follows the same sort of lines as that. Um, Now on to the more sinister side of these groups. I'm sure you've all been involved in WhatsApp groups where somebody says something they shouldn't and it gets shared very quickly. And it becomes something that's very akin to bullying. And we teach the children about this all the time. So we we will conduct ourselves in a very respectful way if we're talking about pupils or parents, and we expect the exact same from you. It's a mutual respect thing. It is actually actionable legally if somebody says something harmful or inaccurate about a teacher or a child in a WhatsApp group, and it is discoverable by law. So I think it's best said once, and we won't have to say it again. But we're very, very careful about making sure that our pupils, parents, and teachers are protected in that regard. Now, back onto phones. So we're talking about WhatsApp groups and phones, which are as annoying as can be for parents and adults, but when they get into the hands of children, they're an awful thing. We have a very strict no phone rule in the school. If you do need to send your child to school with a mobile phone for a particular reason, it must go up to the teacher in the morning time and turned off, and it's not on the onus of the teacher to give it back. Child has to come up and ask for it back, and it's not on the teacher to mind the phone either. It is up to the pupil. We have a smartphone agreement actually in the school, which advocates that our pupils don't get a phone until the end of sixth class. So around about confirmation time, and that's at the absolute earliest. We often say in here we'd rather not ever give children phones and ever ourselves have phones sometimes because we know the damage they do. Um, they can significantly damage child development. It has been proven. If you want to read more about it on our school website, we have that logo you can see right there that says smartphone agreement. Click on it and you'll get a load of information on it. And we had an overwhelming support and response from parents when we did get this mandate done up at 91.4 committed to delaying and buying it. So it's a case of strength in numbers. You can say to your little Johnny or your little Mary, well, nobody else has one actually. So we've all agreed not to give you phones for your benefit. Okay. We can move on there, Mr. Byrne. Thank you. Now, social media, cybersecurity, and smartphones and connected devices. I'm coming from a background of an enormous amount of knowledge here, and that might sound cocky, but it's okay because I've trained and learned an enormous amount about it because I care so much, and so do we in the school. And we come from a position of not warning and giving threats, but a position of protection and telling people that we care about them in the school. And that's the reason that we tried to push this agenda of not having social media accounts. It causes havoc among teenagers, so you don't want to be introducing that at a young age to children in primary school. It's dangerous. It's an unsupervised environment, and it really should not happen for children. My best hope of a 4-year-old is that when she gets to the 12-year-old age, that the government will have interjected and banned it, just like Australia and France have. Children under 16 at present in Ireland are not permitted to be on social media. That's called the digital age of consent. Everyone has it is not good enough to abdicate a parent's responsibility to say no to something. Be strong and say no to it. I know it can be hard at times. Mobile phones, connected devices, and that includes watches. They're not permitted in school. A watch is not adequate supervision for your child. You should not be relying on technology to mind your kid. That's fairly blunt, but I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that statement. Actually, they're not appropriate for a school for protection reasons for children. They can record. We don't want that, and they can be tracked. So if your child is using something like that and you're tracking them, then somebody else can track them. So you can put one and one together on that one and realize why we think it's so important. If a mobile phone or a recording device is found on a child, it'll be confiscated and handed to the principal or the deputy principal, and it'll only be returned when the parent or guardian comes in to collect. Okay, you can move on there, Mr. Byrne. Thank you. Now, on to some more chirpy things and the things that I'm really passionate about. You might see that and think that there's a lot of things popping up in front of you, but you will get very familiar with them, and you'll get familiar with them because your children will be experts in all of these, and it's quite endearing to see. A lot of parents, when they see how much digital learning we do in the school, they kind of get a little bit of a shock that there's too much screen time, but I can guarantee you it's not too much screen time, and it's a different type of screen time to home. The children and junior infants will have less than an hour a week, but they will build up a huge skill set that will guide them through the rest of their schooling and even up into secondary school and college, because they'll be proficient in ways that you couldn't imagine. They'll be coming home to you halfway through junior infants, telling you things, using technical vocabulary and teaching you and showing you things. And I'd urge you to let them, because that's one of the things about digital learning. If you share that experience, it does become something much more wholesome than sitting watching them playing a game where you can worry they're getting sucked into and their focus is getting affected. But if they're talking to you about music or art or creativity, it's a much different type of screen time, and we do all of that sort of stuff in school, and we're experts at it. So I've got various different icons up there. I'm not going to go through them all, but your children will be telling you about them. A lot of them are on the school website. You can have a look yourself. And again, down to gadgets. So we've got the software side, which I just showed you, but we've hardware as well. We're very, very lucky school. We get heavily invested by the Board of Management, that we're really lucky. They approve a lot of our purchases. We get investments from Intel, from SAP, from lots of different companies give us money. So I urge you as well, if you are working for one of these companies and you have a charitable side to your company, to contact me and let me know, because the money goes to very good use. We have a 3D printer, we have 3D pens, we have tablets, Chromebooks, laptops, we have Lego Brick and Lego Spike, which are interactive Lego devices for creativity and for coding. We get companies in every year that come in free gratis to teach our children, with a teacher in the room about 5 or 6 times a year, and it's wonderful. The children again just gain so many skills, and it's not just technical skills, it's the skills of play, the skills of discovery and curiosity. And they're learning English, they're learning maths, they're learning all the other curricular subjects alongside technology. It's not a replacement for anything, it's done alongside pencil and pen use of learning as well. You can see the little B-bots there. There's one last thing I want to mention, Mr. Byrne. The B-bots there are the very first thing that they'll do to do with coding. They've just got simple instructions on the top of them to go forward, backwards, left and right. And your children will definitely be talking to you about them, because they're quite fun, but they'll be using coding and programming language alongside them. So I look forward to meeting you in the yard, and any questions, fire them my way. Thank you.
Yeah, so as Mr. Byrne said, my name is Fiona Haran. I'm deputy principal in our school. And while I have many areas of responsibility in the school, one area that I want to draw your attention to is my responsibility for ensuring we implement our code of behaviour in the school. Our code of behaviour is a policy, and it sets out how we manage behaviour in a school. It's in every school. And I suppose it has two kind of purposes in a macro level, really. First of all, it sets out exactly what we do in terms of our rules and our rewards and our sanctions in the school, to create an orderly, well-mannered, disciplined environment, which of course is the optimal environment for children to learn. But it also sets out, everything that we do in our school is about developing our children. So our code of behaviour is about developing our children as well. So it teaches children how to be disciplined, how to manage their behaviour, and how to be resilient, how to deal with things that make them feel mad, bad, or sad in appropriate ways. And we find where our children are, in this disciplined, well-ordered environment, that they feel happy and they feel calm and they feel safe. And where they feel happy, calm, and safe, they're happier children. And where our children are happy, that promotes a positive sense of well-being. So the code of behaviour, it teaches children or shows children what to expect or what we expect in terms of their behaviour in school, teaches children the boundaries that we have in the school. And when they know all of that and they have all of that information, they feel safer, they feel happier, and like I said, it promotes better well-being for our children in the school. So the code of behaviour is our set of rules. So sometimes you'll have rules, we have rules in our code of behaviour that may not be in other schools because it wouldn't suit other schools. But we have, as a staff and as board of management, we've put together these set of rules that suit our school, suit our context, bearing in mind that we have a school of nearly 700 children and many staff in our school. So these are the rules that work for our school. And you may find that at times our school may be stricter than other schools, but that's because we have a different context and we have different rules that work for us. And indeed, you may find at times that school life is stricter than home life. And many teachers will say that about their own children, that they're stricter in school than they would be with their own children at home, because school isn't an extension of home. School is its own place, and we have to be stricter in school. And that is how it should be. There should be more rules in school than there are at home. So I suppose just to have reasonable expectations around that, you will be hearing a lot more rules when your children start with us. And we've an excellent partnership with parents in our school. And you'll see that when your children are going through the school for the next 8 years. But one area that we can't take direction on from parents is around our code of behaviour. You may, for example, think that there's a rule that you don't agree with, or perhaps there's a rule you think we should have in place. We can't take that direction from parents. We have, as I said, agreed our rules with our board of management, and they work for our school. And one thing that sometimes I deal a lot with parents in the school around behaviour, and almost like a home liaison person. And parents will sometimes ask, if another child has been sanctioned, or if we've spoken to parents of another child. But we can't share any personal data on any other child in the school with anyone but their legal guardians or their parents. So we can't share any information on perhaps how we're dealing with a different child, even if they were involved with your child. So just, again, to have those reasonable expectations when you are dealing with us over the years in terms of the code behaviour. As Mr. Boggins said, we have a very happy cohort of children in our school. I don't mean to be saying the word rules so much, because we have a very positive approach to behaviour in the school. We teach the children how to behave appropriately. We model good behaviour in the school. We have high standards of everything. We have high standards in our teaching and learning, but that includes our expectation for the children's behaviour. And where we see that children do need some support with behaviour, while there will be sanctions, we'll also support them and help them so that they can follow the rules in the school. We remind the children constantly of the rules in the school. We talk with them about why we have them in the school, and our children actually contribute to the rules in the school and what they think we need in the school to keep the place calm and keep the place safe. The code of behaviour sets out our rewards and sanctions, so you can have a look through it there. And of course, at the end of the day, all learning is the responsibility of parents and guardians, and that includes learning how to behave. And what children see modelled, and we're aware of this as well, what children see modelled by us is very important, but it's extremely important that what children see modelled at home is probably one of the greatest influences on their learning and their behaviour. So how you're talking about school and school rules and all that has a huge influence on the children. So I would encourage you to be positive about school and all that when you're talking to your children at home. So your children are starting in junior infants. There will be new experiences and there'll be new social situations, and that will be the case going on throughout school. There'll be a lot of them in junior infants. And the huge majority of those new experiences and social interactions will be positive. They really will be. But there will be those not so nice experiences, and all children will have them, and all children should have them, because children learn from everything and they learn from all situations. And probably some of the greatest learning that they'll get is from those not so nice experiences. Okay, so we will support children through their not so nice experiences, but it's important that you at home, that you're reassuring children, you're talking to children about the not so nice experiences, but you're thinking about that. We want to give children a toolbox of how they can deal with those experiences as they go on through life. So perhaps not always stepping in to solve the situation, but giving a child support and maybe talking about how they can deal with it. Of course, you can always email me, or you can email the class teacher if there is something that you think needs to be brought to the class teacher's attention. But do consider that we really want to develop and grow our children so that they can deal with situations that perhaps make them feel mad, bad, or sad themselves. And just to bear in mind, again, those reasonable expectations, not all things will go your child's way. And that can be a new experience in primary school. They could simply have their hand up in class and they could be not called for an answer. That can upset some children. So just to bear in mind, it won't always go their way. And that is something that we'll be teaching the children in school. And it's something that you can reinforce at home as well with your children. Of course, if there is something that you want to discuss with the school, the first person that you should always discuss with is your child's class teacher. Okay, so if you do go to contact myself or anybody else in the school, we will divert you back to the class teacher. So make sure you always start with your class teacher. So myself and Mr. Byrne, we're available on the yards every morning after an afternoon if you want to have a word. It's a great way to have a chat because you can communicate so much more in person than through emails and phone calls. So look, we're available on the yard. So don't, if you go to the class teacher first, if there is an issue with the child in the class, and it would only ever be a family law or a child safeguarding matter where you would be contacting or looking for a meeting with the principal. Okay, so it would be very rare that you'd need a meeting with the principal. We have our parent-teacher meetings. It's a great opportunity to have a conversation with the teachers about your child. They're over Zoom. We learned during COVID, there was a few good memories and a few good things came from COVID. And one of the things that we did recognise is that the parent-teacher meetings can be done very effectively over Zoom. There's the odd meeting that's done face-to-face, but they're done very, very effectively. And we find that parents, it suits parents' schedules of work and everything as well to do them over Zoom. So it says there that the principal cannot accommodate requests for meetings unless there's safeguarding children welfare issues or a family law issue. So you'll be dealing with class teachers, you could be dealing with year heads, or you may be dealing with myself, because I kind of deal with homeschool issues as well, and that couldn't be resolved through class teacher. And then, we always say it, and Mr. Boggins said it as well, what we really want to do is, in the school, is we want to spend all of our time teaching the children. We want our children learning all of the time. And we have an excellent relationship and partnership with our parents in the school, and we communicate quite a lot. But we are cognizant too that if parents, and we do ask the parents just to bear in mind that if you're communicating too much or a lot with the class teacher, that the class teacher is taking time from their teaching and learning or their preparation for teaching and learning to communicate with you. So really do consider if this message that perhaps you are sending to a class teacher is necessary, and whether maybe you could give a little bit more time, because like I said, it will take from their teaching and learning, or the preparation for teaching and learning of that class. Attendance, we put a huge amount of energy and value into attendance. It's one of the most important indicators of how well your child is going to do in school. But indeed, there's research to show that it has a huge impact on how a child will progress through life, and they get into really good habits of attending school. So Miss O'Donovan is our assistant principal in the school who has responsibility for attendance in the school, and if any communication is needed around attendance, it will come from Miss O'Donovan. Every child must attend school every day, only if they're ill, and that would be if they have a high temperature, or if they have perhaps they're vomiting or they have diarrhea, then they shouldn't be in school. But if they have a bit of a cough or they're sneezing a little bit, typically they should be in school. You will get a notice if your child is out for 10 days, you'll get a notice by text, and 15 days again, and you get another notice by text. And then you'll get a 20 days email just alerting you to the fact that your child has been out for 20 days. If your child is out for 20 days, we have to report to TUSA. So it's like we have to tell TUSA that your child has been out for 20 days. Now that's different to a referral. If we had a concern around a child's attendance in school, and that doesn't necessarily have to reach 20 days, but if we had a concern, the child is regularly missing school, then we would make what's called a referral. Okay, so that 20-day email isn't a referral, it's where we're making a report to TUSA, but there could be situations where we may make a referral to TUSA on attendance. If a child is not in the seat at roll call, the child is marked absent. And it's important that your children come into school on time, because it's very disruptive for the office. It's disruptive then for the class as well when a child has been brought into the classroom late. And your child will be marked absent if they come in late, unless you have informed the teacher and the office in advance. So if you tell the teacher in the office in advance that your child's going to be a little bit late, we can change their attendance. So again, around attendance, we really, really discourage children being removed early from school. They should only ever be removed early from school if they have a HSE appointment or there's a family emergency. This is disruptive for the class, again, and the school, but it is hard on a child to be withdrawn from their peers and withdrawn from the class. So it can affect a child and it can affect their kind of their well-being and their kind of sense of meaning in school, but if they're being pulled out of school regularly early, because they will notice it. If you do need to take a child out for a HSE appointment or for a family emergency, these are the 3 steps. You have to inform the teacher and you have to inform the secretary, inform the office. Okay, so both need to know. The teacher will arrange for a pupil to be sent to the office for a collection, and the pupil is signed out at the office. You can't, we don't have the supervision to get somebody to go onto the yard, to get your child, to take them from the yard, to go up and get their school bag, to bring them back down to the office during yard time. So if you have not informed the teacher and the secretary that you will be withdrawing your child from school during yard time, they will not be available. And we will have to wait until the end of yard when our staff are back in place and we find somebody who can supervise your child to be withdrawn from class. So they cannot be withdrawn without notice from the yard. If your child arrives after 9 o'clock, they must be accompanied by the parent and guardian to the school office. So don't drop your child off late and just let them come into the school. They have to be brought by an adult to the school office, because we need to know that the child wasn't wandering before they came into school. We need to talk to parents just to make sure the child was safe up until they came into our school. Never allow your child to enter the school grounds unaccompanied. And a child who's arriving after 10 past 9 will be registered as 10 minutes late by the class teacher. Okay, so there's a late area that we have at the school as well, and we have a teacher with responsibility for bringing our children who arrive late around to their classrooms, because all our children have to be supervised. We can't send children off unsupervised. So where children come in late in the morning, they do need to wait in a late area until we have a teacher who's available to bring them to their classes. And then parents who show up at the school door to remove the child early without advance notice or without any valid reasons, you may be asked to speak to myself, deputy principal, or to our principal, Mr. Byrne. Now, that's everything from me for now. I will see you all on Friday the 12th of June at 12:30 p.m. Looking forward to putting a face to everybody. Excuse me, I'm going to pass you over now to our assistant principal, Miss Claire Melia, who has responsibility for leading and managing our supplementary educational support team in the school.
Thanks, Fiona. Good evening, everyone. My name is Claire Melia. I am the Supplementary Education Support Coordinator. So this is the structure of our support team. I'm the coordinator, and that's my email if you feel the need to email me before your child arrives. Miss Megan is the Deputy Senko. She is responsible for the SNAs and coordinating the SNA support. Then we have one English additional language teacher, that's Mr. Gavin. So that's for any child that English wouldn't be their first language. He supports those children. So we have 11 supplementary education support teachers from junior infants to 6th class supporting children who need it. And then we have 8 special education needs assistants, SNAs. Just to say, we've 8 SNAs for 700 children. We have put in a review 3 times to get extra SNAs, but we haven't. So if your child requires an SNA, it'll only be on a care needs basis. That'd be toileting, communication, and long gone are the days that one child will get an SNA. We have to deploy our resources as we see fit. So basically the children with the greatest level of need get the greatest level of support. And then in terms of the structure of our supplementary educational support, we implement a continuum of support that is directed by the National Council for Special Education. So it's a continuum. So there's 3 structures. There's the classroom support. So for you and your children, that would mean that the children would get support from the SET team, or the SET team go in daily into junior infant classes for phonics stations, for literacy stations, for numeracy stations, or they might support a child for if social or emotional issues as well. So most of the time that will be supported in class. So 80 to 90% of our structures will be in there. Then for some children who have been identified as having additional needs and they're not meeting the curriculum, or they just need an extra little bit of support, they get school support for some. And then at the top level, there's School Support Plus. So this would be children who have needs and maybe have had an assessment through NEPS or privately. But we work on promoting and supporting academic and social and emotional competencies throughout. And the next slide will show you that, if you move it on, that we work on a problem solving approach. So if the teacher identifies a concern for your child, or if you have a concern, it's a mutual communication is key. So if there's a problem identified, the classroom teacher will talk to you and we will meet with you and we'll create a classroom support plan, and this can be reviewed. So basically we want to know what's the concern, why is it happening, how can we solve it, and we monitor it, and it's cyclical to see if it worked. So if the classroom support doesn't work, we might move up to school support plan, where they would be withdrawn with a special educational support teacher in a group setting. And if this is not working, we may need to put in supports to the CDNT team, which is Children's Disability Network, or an assessment of need. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have an EP psychologist attached to our school, so we've no capability to get a child assessed within our school at the moment, but hopefully that will change. And again, we're constantly monitoring it and constantly keeping you in the loop. Were the targets achieved and what needs to be modified. And we're so lucky, again, the Board of Management and Colin and Fiona are brilliant at supporting this special educational needs. So we have a sensory room, we have a calming room, which is lovely, and the children love this one. There's a bubble tube with fish, and it just calms the children down if they need it. We also have a sensory pod where the children can go in. So we are so well resourced. And this room is really good for children who just need calming. Then in the next slide, we have an alerting facilities. So this is for children who just need to burn off a bit of steam. There's a punch bag, there's a hammock, and it just gets the giddiness out of some children and gets them back ready for learning. And then these are some, I'm also responsible for assessment. So these are some of the standardized assessments that we have in our school. So the infants will be completing the Belfield Infant Assessment Profile in January. So we'll be talking to you about that in January. Senior infants can complete the Drumcondra literacy and numeracy standardized tests. And 1st to 6th class do Drumcondra tests every May. And then 2nd class and 5th class do non-verbal reasoning tests, where we kind of see if they're reaching their potential without, it's a test involving no literacy or numeracy, more reasoning. And the BIAP results are recorded to you, the parents, at the parent-teacher meeting in February. and the Drumcondra results and standardised tests are recorded or are communicated to the parents at the end of the school year on the report. This is just an overview of the Belfield Infant Assessment. It's to identify strengths and needs of children in junior infants, and it assesses 5 major developmental areas. So perceptual processes is their auditory and visual skills, then their motor development, so gross motor and fine motor, so pencil control, cutting. Then it assesses their early learning styles, which is their attention, their motivation, and their independence. The next section is the language and communication, so their verbal reasoning, their use of language. And lastly, their social and emotional development. So the teacher measures their maturity, their temperament, their social skills. So each child will go out with a special educational support teacher to complete these tests. Some will be done in class and some with this special educational support teacher. And again, these will all be communicated to you in a graph form at your parent-teacher meeting in February. And I'm going to hand you back to Mr. Byrne now to go through another few bits, but I hope to have great interactions with you over the next 8 years. And again, if you need anything or to contact me, my email is missmelia@holyfamilyns.ie. Thanks so much.
So thank you, Miss Melia. So mums and dads, we're coming towards the end now of our online induction this evening, and just a few bits and pieces that I go through with you, maybe covering some of the things we mentioned already, maybe a few new things. If your child has, we have a Media alert system in the school. So if your child has any medical issues, allergies, we will be in contact with you if you've informed us through the application process. Miss Hartnett is our assistant principal who's in charge of that. So there's Miss Hartnett's email address if you have any issues relating to that. No medicines, mums and dads, can be sent to the school at any time with any child. Obviously, a medicine is a poison, and they're not permitted, but it's common sense, I suppose. But for the Health and Safety Authority, obviously doesn't permit it. That includes things like, paracetamol, anapens if your child has an allergy. All those medicines have to be stored securely and centrally at the medicine press in the sick bay area. But again, if you have any issue in relation to anything like that, go through the office, go through Miss Hartnett there. Mums and dads and junior infants, would you please send in a spare set of clothes, please, with your child, and we'll keep that. You keep that at the bottom of the bag there, with their name on it, just in case there are accidents. Your child should be able to toilet themselves independently, unless there's any supplementary educational need or additional development need there. So obviously if there's still issues there, make sure you've well practiced at that before the children come to school. Children should be able to put on and zip up their own coats. This is a big one, mums and dads. Velcro shoes only until your child can tie their own laces. And usually we expect a child to be able to tie their laces in first class or before first class, but definitely in first class. So please do not send your child to school in laced shoes if they're not able to tie their laces, because obviously you imagine if you have a class of 30 and teachers trying to tie 30 laces, it's a lot of downtime. Avoid the big water bottles that came in from the teachers there, the junior infant teachers. Just the small water bottles are required. So school books and copies are provided by the school. All you need is your school bag and a snack for morning break on the first day. Watch the weight of the school bag, please. They're little backs, so we just want to watch that. Try to keep them nice and light. Label everything. That's the second big message. Label everything, including the uniform. We could open up a clothes shop here at the end of every year with the amount of uniform items that go unclaimed because they aren't labelled. Just stick a name on it, on the tag, and the minute it goes missing, we'll be able to return it to the owner. Make sure everything is clearly labelled in front of the books, not inside. They would be your own books, but we supply actually books again through the school books scheme. So any copy books, things like that, make sure they're properly labelled. Mums and dads said to you again, no dogs in the school, please, at any time, even if carried. No chewing gum, smoking in the school, it's an obvious one. Pupils and parents are not permitted again to mount bicycles or scooters in the schoolyard. It's a busy schoolyard there at morning time and collection time, and that's something we police there. Aladdin Connect, Mr. Boggins spoke about the Aladdin Connect there. Enable the notifications and read them, and read our monthly newsletter. Important information are in those memos and in those newsletters in relation to closures, things that are going on in the school. So it is very important to read them. And again, as Mr. Boggins said, a Latin Connect should be used for contact details. We can't pass out names of children due to GDPR. If you invite one to a party, invite them all, or as they say, all the boys or all the girls, or invite them all, because it's not nice if a child is left out. You can't exchange or pass out cards, invitations, or food items in the school at any time. Again, that's allergies and so on. And again, use a Latin Connect to contact families in your class. Mr. Boggins did speak. We'll send out the information again, but it is in your pack there. There's a little icon on the top right hand corner. You click that and you're able to allow other parents in your class see your telephone number, your mobile number, or your email, or both. You get to choose that. Moms and dads, we do not accept any aggression from any adults. We don't accept it from anyone, staff, children, and certainly not from parents in any form. We've parents banned from the school for aggression, and so that we just don't put up with it. So obviously we want to treat each other in a respectful and professional manner at all times. Teach your child to be resilient, able to deal with the things that make you feel mad, bad, or sad without acting in an extreme way. Resilience applies to adults also. In fact, more often than not, I find it's the adults could do with some resilience training, let alone the work we do trying to develop resilience with our own children. Your children are going to come, Miss Haran briefed you on this, your children are going to encounter situations that are not nice. We all do. That's life. If your child was to coast through life and never be affected by anything negative, they won't build character. They won't be able to deal with the world that's ahead of them. So these things are meant to happen. They're expected to happen, and we guide our child and how to deal with that and around those issues as they arise. Teach your child that school life is full of good things. As I said, be resilient. Listen to your child. There's no such thing as a bad child. There can be bad behaviors, but listen to your child. If your child comes home, listen to what they have to say. But remember that, I have 4 children myself, from university down to preschool. And when your child comes home telling you things, you remember 2 things. Number 1, they're seeing it through a child's eyes. So often their facts, are kind of maybe a little bit altered. The way they interpret the environment and what has happened to them and why it happened can be, different when it's viewed objectively by an adult per se. One story I always tell is a story of, and those of you that have been on the induction before have heard me tell the story of a child. This is a real life story. Came across a situation years ago where a child reported to a parent that they were being spat on by another child in the school. And when we looked into it, it turned out that child, the facts were right. The child was being spat on, but the child that was doing the spitting was spitting on everyone because the child had a lisp. So your child can come home with facts, and they can be right and correct, but in context they can have a completely different meaning. So always just be open to all interpretations of what you are hearing. Moms and dads, we have a voluntary contribution to school that we request. It is voluntary, but the money is very much appreciated. It goes straight to the children and into our classrooms, and that will go home in September. We have a parent association, so if you're able to give a dig out with our parent association, that's their email there. They're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers with various things that goes on throughout the year. We have a fantastic parent association, great relationship with them. And so if you're able to give a bit of a dig out in any way, you don't have to be on the committee. It could be just one event. You might be able to help them out in some way. Maybe just get in touch with them there, please. Our Tea and Tears, Moms and Dads, are on Wednesday, the 26th of August. We call it Tea and Tears because we bring the tea and you can bring the tears. So that's on when you drop your child off on the first day of school at 9:40. You can go to the senior GP hall there, and our wonderful Parents Association put on the tea for you there. So, Moms and Dads, we're coming towards the end of our online induction webinar for you. I want to say to you that I've been a principal here now for 11, 12 years. I'm 26 years a principal. It's my 3rd school. This is a wonderful school. I can assure you of that. It's of the highest standard of professionalism, the highest standard of pedagogical practice. Your children are very lucky to be in this school, and we will look after them. I always say that, you know, I said I have 4 children myself, and my mantra is, and I know that's the mantra of our management team and our staff in the school, is to treat the children as if you're your own. And that's what I do. I treat them as if they're my own. How would I deal with them in this situation? Because at the end of the day, we want to love them. We want to look after them. We want them to grow up into the most beautiful of people that we can do. It's good for them. It's good for our society. And good for humanity, and that's what we're trying to do. And ultimately, we're preparing them for secondary school as well. So we're looking forward to the 8 years ahead. There's a little thing that we end with there. It's a child's 10 requestments. My hands are small. Please don't expect perfection. My eyes have not seen the world as yours have. Please let me explore safely. Don't restrict me unnecessarily. Number 3, housework will always be there. I'm only little for a short time. Please take time to explain things to me about this wonderful world, and do so willingly. My feelings are tender. Please be sensitive to my needs. Don't nag me all day long. Treat me as you would like to be treated. I'm a special gift from God. Please treasure me as God intended you to do, holding me accountable for my actions, giving me guidelines to live by, and disciplining me in a loving manner. I need your encouragement to grow. Please go easy on criticism. Remember, you can criticize the things I do without criticizing me. And that's what we talk about there. There's no such thing as a bad child. There can be bad behavior. Please give me the freedom to make decisions concerning myself. Permit me to fail so that I can learn from my mistakes. Your children have to fail, mums and dads. They have to experience that. Please don't do things over for me. Somehow that makes me feel that my efforts don't quite measure up to your expectations. Let them do things and let them fail. Please pray with me daily and develop a faith system for me. And the last one, my favourite of them all, please don't be afraid to leave for a weekend together. Kids need breaks from parents, just as parents need breaks from kids. So mums and dads, we've come to the end of our online induction. I want to thank you for being with us. Looking forward to the 8 years together. I want to thank Miss Haran, our Deputy Principal, Miss Melia, Assistant Principal, and Mr. Boggins, Assistant Principal, for being with us also this evening. And looking forward to seeing you all at our face-to-face induction in June. Thank you, mums and dads. Bye-bye.